He is sitting in a room that smells of mahogany and stale coffee. The air conditioning is humming, but he is sweating. Across the desk, the divorce attorney is flipping through pages, snap, snap, snap. Each page represents a year. Each signature represents a surrender. He is trying to do the math. He is trying to solve an equation that has haunted men for generations. He looks at the settlement. The house? He bought it because she said it was her dream. The debt? Most of it is from vacations to Italy, to Bali, to places he didn't care about but went to because he wanted to see her smile. The jewelry, the cars, the lifestyle. He calculates the late nights at the office, the stress, the silent sacrifices of his own hobbies, his own friends, his own identity. He gave everything. He held back nothing. He was faithful. He was a provider. He was good. And yet, as the attorney explains how his assets will be divided, he realizes a terrifying truth. The very things he gave to keep her are the exact reasons she lost interest. He bought his way out of his own marriage. He looks up, confused, broken, and asks the empty air, "I did everything right. Why wasn't it enough?" If you are watching this, you might know this man. You might be this man. You are the guy who believes that relationships operate on a ledger. If I deposit kindness, sacrifice, and provision today, I can withdraw loyalty and desire tomorrow. You are about to learn the hardest lesson of your life. Relationship accounting does not work like business accounting. In business, you build equity. In relationships, past contributions depreciate the moment they are delivered. Welcome to Aphorism Archive. Today, we are not just talking about breakups. We are dissecting the fundamental delusion of the modern male provider. We are going to dismantle everything you've been taught about earning love, and I'm going to show you how to rebuild your approach based on the brutal, effective psychology of anticipation architecture. You will learn why being the man who has given everything makes you worthless, and how to become the man she can never quite fully possess, and therefore, never wants to leave. Let's return to that man in the office. His tragedy wasn't a lack of love, it was a lack of understanding regarding value. He fell victim to the banker's fallacy. He believed that every time he sacrificed his own happiness for hers, he was making a deposit into a savings account of goodwill. He thought, if I buy the house, that is plus 100 points of security. If I fund the vacation, that is plus 50 points of loyalty. He viewed his marriage as a cumulative effort. But she viewed it through a completely different lens, current market value. Here is the first uncomfortable principle of relationship economics: depreciation. In the physical world, when you buy a luxury car, it loses 20% of its value the moment you drive it off the lot. In relationships, a fulfilled desire loses nearly 100% of its negotiating power the moment it transitions from a dream to a memory. That vacation you saved for 6 months, it was valuable because it was an expectation. It was something to look forward to. It drove conversation, excitement, and connection. But the day you land back at the airport, that vacation moves from the future potential column to the historical archive column. History is nice. We all like memories. But history does not create desire. History creates comfort, and comfort is the cousin of boredom. This explains why men who front-load their giving, who rush to provide the ring, the house, the car, the security, often find themselves standing on the most shaky ground. Every gift you give, every sacrifice you finalize, reduces your future value proposition. Think of it this way: if you are a magician, your value lies in the mystery of the trick you haven't shown yet. If you walk onto the stage and immediately reveal how every trick is done, and then hand the audience your entire bag of props, you haven't made them happy. You've made yourself redundant. This creates what we call generosity depletion syndrome. It works like this: your influence in a relationship decreases in direct proportion to your completed contributions. The more you have already done, the less you have left to offer. And in the biological imperative of attraction, a partner is not looking for a historian of past good deeds. They are looking for a visionary of future experiences. By giving her everything she wanted, our man in the office removed the single most important component of desire, the want. He satisfied the hunger so thoroughly that he eliminated the appetite required to stay at the table. Why do men do this? Why do intelligent, successful men, who understand strategy in business, fail so spectacularly in love? It comes down to a communication gap that is as wide as an ocean. I call it reciprocity expectation disorder. Men are generally conditioned to believe in covert contracts. A covert contract is an unspoken agreement that exists only in your head. It sounds like this: I will be a good provider, I will listen to your problems, and I will deny my own needs. In exchange, you will be grateful, you will be loyal, and you will desire me. You view your sacrifice as a debt she now owes you. She views your sacrifice as a standard you have now set. Let that sink in. When you work overtime to buy that luxury item, you think, I am buying security. She thinks, this is the new baseline. This is who we are now. You are communicating obligation. She is hearing lifestyle upgrade. Because you believe you are building equity, you expect dividends. When those dividends don't come, when she isn't overwhelmingly grateful for the thing you did 3 years ago, you become resentful. You feel cheated. You feel like a creditor whose loans aren't being repaid. But she never signed the loan agreement. This is why traditional relationship advice is dangerous. You are told to be supportive, happy wife, happy life, give her the world. This advice is marketed to your desire to be a hero, but it turns you into a servant. And nobody desires a servant. A servant is useful, yes. A servant is kept around as long as they are performing tasks. But a servant is replaced the moment they stop working or when a more exciting master comes along. The delusion is thinking that relationship accounting is cumulative. It is not. It is cyclical. Imagine a man who eats a massive feast on Thanksgiving. He is stuffed. He is grateful. He tells the chef, that was the best meal of my life. Does that mean he won't be hungry on Friday morning? Of course not. Satisfaction reset syndrome. Every day in a relationship begins with a zero balance. No matter what you did yesterday, the biological and psychological needs of your partner reset when the sun comes up. The man in the divorce office thought he could bank his calories. He thought the feast of 2005 would keep her full in 2024. But human attachment operates on hunger. If you are relying on the meal you cooked a decade ago, you are starving your relationship today. Let's talk about risk. In almost every other area of life, as you advance, you become more secure. If you advance in your career, you get tenure. If you advance in wealth, you get a safety net. In modern relationships, the progression is often inverted. The relationship escalator, dating, exclusivity, cohabitation, marriage, children, is designed so that each step requires greater investment from you, while simultaneously reducing your leverage. This is the advancement trap. In the beginning, when you are just dating, you have maximum leverage. You are a mystery. Your resources are your own. Your time is your own. She is intrigued by your potential. As you move to exclusivity, you trade some freedom for intimacy. As you move to cohabitation, you trade your personal space for shared domesticity. As you move to marriage, you trade your legal and financial autonomy for a social contract. By the time you reach the peak of the relationship, you have the most to lose and the least ability to negotiate. You are fully leveraged. The man in the divorce office reached the peak. He had invested 100% of his identity and assets into the us, leaving 0% for the him. Paradoxically, this is often when women initiate termination. It isn't necessarily malicious, it's an unconscious optimization. The potential has been extracted. The mystery is solved. The assets are secured. The man has become a known quantity with no surprises left. The system creates what I call advancement addiction. You feel you must keep moving to the next level to prove your love, to lock in the relationship. But you cannot lock in desire with a contract. If you understand this, you stop viewing marriage or commitment as a finish line where you can rest. You realize that the higher you climb, the more dangerous the fall, and the more skill is required to stay on the mountain. So, how do you survive this? How do you maintain security when the papers are signed and the house is bought? You have to change your asset class. Relationship assets fall into two categories. 1. Secured assets. These are things she keeps regardless of whether you stay together. The memories, the learned experiences, the jewelry, the social status she gained. These provide zero leverage. 2. Influence assets. These are the things she loses if she leaves. These are the things that require your active, ongoing presence to exist. The mistake most men make is converting all their influence assets into secured assets too quickly. They give it all away. To win, you must become an investor, not a philanthropist. If giving everything away is the path to destruction, what is the path to security? It is the art of being what she can never quite fully have. It is about shifting from provision to anticipation architecture. Think about your favorite streaming service. Why do you keep paying the subscription? Is it because of the movies you watched last month? No. You pay because of the promise of what is coming next month. The new season. The upcoming release. You are loyal to the platform because of future value. In a relationship, you must become the platform. You must build a psychological structure where your partner is continuously looking forward to experiences, achievements, and versions of you that have not yet materialized. This is not about manipulation. It is not about dangling a carrot on a stick and never letting her eat it. That is cruelty, and it builds resentment. Anticipation architecture is about alignment. It means you, as a man, must always be growing. You must have a mission that is bigger than the relationship. When you have a mission, a career goal, a physical challenge, a creative endeavor, you are generating influence assets. You are becoming a man who is going places. If she stays with you, she gets to be part of that journey. She gets to experience the victory with you. If she leaves, she misses the ending of the movie. This creates strategic delayed gratification. Instead of buying the dream house immediately and settling into a routine of Netflix and takeout, you create a vision of a life you are building together, step by step. You manage the timeline. You provide satisfaction in doses that create appreciation, but you never fully satisfy the hunger for what comes next. Just as a great director cuts the scene right before the tension resolves to keep you watching, you must maintain a level of positive tension in your relationship. This requires you to have a life outside of her. If you are 100% available, you are 0% desirable. Scarcity creates value. If your time, your attention, and your validation are automatic, they are worthless. But if you are a man who is busy building an empire, even a small one, your attention becomes a prize. When you turn your focus to her, it feels like a gift, not a default setting. The man in the divorce office made her his entire world. He collapsed his universe into hers. He ceased to be a planet with his own gravity and became a moon orbiting her. And moons are nice to look at, but they are just background scenery. So, how do we apply this? How do you ensure you never end up in that mahogany office staring at a settlement that erases your life's work? You need a new protocol. We will call this leverage preservation. Step 1. The identity firewall. You must maintain a distinct identity that cannot be divided in a settlement. Your hobbies, your gym routine, your male friendships, your intellectual pursuits. These are yours. They do not belong to the marriage. They are the fuel that keeps you interesting. If you sacrifice these to make time for her, you are killing the very person she fell in love with. Step 2. Diversified validation. Do not let your self-worth depend entirely on your relationship status. The man in the office was crushed not just financially, but spiritually, because he had no other source of meaning. When you have multiple sources of purpose, your work, your community, your health, you negotiate from a position of strength. You want the relationship, but you do not need it to survive. That subtle difference is the most attractive trait a man can possess. Step 3. The rolling horizon. Never reach the end of history in your relationship. Always have a new goal. Once the house is bought, what is the next adventure? Once the kids are in school, what is the next project? You must be the captain of the ship, always pointing toward a new continent. If the ship stops moving, the crew creates mutiny. Keep the ship moving. Step 4. Authentic delivery. This is crucial. You cannot fake this. You cannot pretend to be high value while secretly being lazy. You actually have to deliver. You have to be capable. You have to be competent. The strategy relies on real potential. You must be the man who gets better with age. Your physical fitness, your financial acumen, your emotional intelligence, these must appreciate over time. If you are depreciating, letting yourself go, getting lazy, stopping your education, you are breaking the anticipation architecture. You are becoming a bad investment. The brutal truth is that love is not unconditional. That is a fantasy sold to children. Adult love is conditional. It is conditional on respect, on value, and on the promise of tomorrow. The man in the divorce office thought he could buy loyalty with past sacrifice. He learned too late that relationship security isn't based on what you've already given. It is based on what you are still capable of providing that she doesn't already possess. You cannot rest on your laurels. You cannot buy your way to a happy ending. You must accept the burden of performance. But view it not as a burden, but as a challenge. It forces you to stay sharp. It forces you to stay hungry. It forces you to be a man who is worthy not because of what he did 10 years ago, but because of who he is today. Don't be the bank. Be the venture. Don't be the memory. Be the vision. If this analysis resonated with you, if you are ready to stop operating on a ledger of loss and start building a portfolio of influence, make sure you subscribe to Aphorism Archive. We are building a community of men who understand that the only way to keep a relationship is to be a man who is willing to walk away from it, and a man she would be crazy to lose. Hit the notification bell. We are just scratching the surface of the psychology of power dynamics. Next week, we will discuss how to rebuild attraction after it's already been lost. Until then, keep building.